Hi everyone, welcome back for the working session, which is basically the last session of TechDebt. So we will go through a couple of things. There will be working session, then the closing. We will introduce also the next year TechDebt. So we are going to give away the awards. So that's going to be quite nice. But first, let's start with the working session. So what's the idea? The idea is that we have two lightning talks. One is by Davide Taibi from Tampere University, Fooled by the Hype, is the next cloud native technology solving all my problems. As you can imagine, is about cloud and technical debt. So it's pretty interesting. The other one is by Narayan Ramasubbu from University of Pittsburgh, and it's about strategic implication of technical debt, which is also it's going to be quite interesting from the management part of technical debt. How does this work? First, we will have these two lightning talk. Then we will join different rooms, like we did for the social event. I will explain better how to do that after the lightning talks. We discuss about 25 minutes. You guys prepare slides with 5-10 points. We come back all together and we go through all these points, so everyone gets a little bit of something interesting that about these topics and about the next 10 years of technical debt. So I will explain a bit better about this later. So I think now I'm going to ask Davide to share his screen and to start. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes. So hello, everyone. Let me just a second. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it? Yes.
Yes.
So I wanted to give you kind of introduction about all the new hype of the new cloud native technologies. I mean, everybody's talking about cloud nowadays. And I heard in the beginning of technical debt that cloud is going to reduce and remove almost all the technical debt in software development. Well, partially, I would say yes. So let me give a very quick introduction of how software systems evolved and where we are now. So, we started from IT infrastructure with data center, with physical data center, with physical servers, you mean the real metal machines, bare metal machines, and we were developing monolithic applications. So one single application that was going there. And in parallel, there was the waterfall process at that time. It was not a consequence. It was just like that. Well, then after a while, let's say 20 years ago, we started having hosted and managed data centers. So it was possible to have a hosted virtual machine or just sending your bare metal machine to a data center and someone was managing for you. So that means that still you had a lot of saving and you didn't have to pay for the cloud part, for the hosting, or you didn't have to maintain your infrastructure. We started to have virtual servers and N-tier levels. So we started to have like the 3-tier level, model view control patterns. So a lot of software engineer change. And in parallel, around 2000, let's say 98, 99, we started the Agile manifesto and the Agile movement. So starting to develop in a more agile way. Then in the last 10, 12 years, everybody started considering the cloud. So the cloud just started to exist, and we started to decompose applications into several independent sub-applications or sub-services, what we also call now microservices. Microservices are deployed in containers, completely hosted in the cloud. Well, technically, you can have your private cloud, but usually you develop still in a cloud, private or public. And we started to have the DevOps paradigm. Well, with the cloud, now we have like worry-free IT because, the cloud the software is hosted for you. You don't need to worry about the maintenance. The compatibility and upgrades of the maintenance are just usually taken care by the cloud providers. You have more security, you have more scalability, virtual unlimited. And now in the last year, we started serverless. So let's see, we have a lot of buzzwords about cloud. We have microservices, as I said now. Edge computing now started to exist, serverless, containers, and then all the different providers, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. There are several buzzwords that continue coming on the market. And in the last year, also micro front ends, yet another technology. So let me give you again an idea of the trends. This is something that I experienced. So it is not based on scientific papers, but this is what I experienced in the research in the last 10 years. So in 13, we started to have microservices. Martin Fowler proposed, together with other two persons, the idea of microservice. Well, actually, Amazon developed for their online service or online shopping something similar already in 2002. But it was formalized in microservice in 13. And then up to 19, everybody was like moving to microservice. It is the silver bullet. It will solve all the problem. It will reduce all the technical debt because you don't need to do any complex stuff. Well, in 2020, I've been to some of the biggest practitioner conference on software architecture, and they say, please stop developing microservices. It's too late. We already made a big mistake. We don't need to develop microservices anymore. Please immediately move to serverless functions, no microservice anymore. We already did a big mistake. Let's stop continuing this trend. And edge computing also started to exist, at least as a term, edge computing. What was curious last year, after this year, or let's say starting from September, October, December, around this time, is that practitioners then came back on their steps and they say, well, probably it's better to use microservice again, but let's use serverless microservices and not only microservices. And micro front ends also started to be predominant. So they want to divide front ends into separate independent front ends with a very cool approach, very cool technology, but a lot of duplication that decrease coupling between teams in terms of development, but increase the need of synchronization. I know that this goes one against the others, but in the breakout room, if you're interested, I can give you more. What's next? Someone is already talking about serverless 2.0. I mean, this week I was in the Dutch Tool seminar on serverless, and we were discussing about serverless 2.0. So even before serverless is very mature. Edge 2.0 also is a new keyword. So which open issues there are? There are new development paradigm that require developers to change the mindset, and that's a serious problem. Old monolithic application, they need to be decomposed. They need to be split. Do we know if they decrease technical debt? They would need to create duplications. So are the duplication useful or not? Is the technical debt created by duplication useful? Or are all the several postponed activities much more beneficial compared to, let's say, the improvement of the system independence? Complexity also increase a lot. So in the end, which cloud technology can be used? We still don't know. And there are continuous increased number of new technologies that are made usually on purpose to help companies, but to increase the vendor lock-in. I mean, vendor, they want that you use their platform and you keep on paying for them. And the problem is that they release new technology much faster than development tools. For example, it was really hard to deploy serverless functions just a couple of years ago because there were no mature tools. They were crashing very, very often. So other consideration before closing, there are very limited best practices, and companies are learning by doing a lot of mistakes. And most of the time, because they are like, let's say, fooled by the new technologies, they forgot to consider the old-fashioned software engineering practices. So they don't think about a modular system, and they don't pay attention that much to coupling and cohesion. They don't think about long-term maintenance because they think, well, the cloud provider will do it for me. Yes, the maintenance of the hardware, but how about the software? How about implementing new feature? And a lot of them, in the end, they have a distributed monolith. So that was a kind of summary of this part. And I want to talk with you about pros and cons of new hyped cloud technologies in the breakout sessions now after my colleague. Thank you.
Davide, that was very interesting. I think you will get a lot of people with you talking about this. Can you stop sharing? Yes, great. And now it's Narayan Ramasubu. You can show yourself and show your screen and start your lightning talk. You're still muted.
Oh.
And we cannot see you.
Can you see me now and hear me?
Yes, now we can hear. I think I can hear and see you. So
Thank you so much.
just mute.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm going to share my perspectives on technical debt as a person who is now firmly in the business context, in the business school research context. I have 4 topics to start with and continue in our discussion room. I see a great need to bridge these two communities, the technical debt community and then the broader technology management community. um, and address a critique that I've often heard from this broader technology management community. If technical debt research is especially old wine in a new bottle, that was a critique I hear all the time from my colleagues here. And then motivate us to talk about broader dynamics, especially complex dynamics, and that are elevated to the level of industry and even firm level topics. So let me begin by emphasizing that there is a great deal of advancements that have been occurring in the technical debt software engineering community to measure, identify, track, talk about processes that generate technical debt, and so on. There are also great tools that have come up now. From a management research point of view, what has happened is, and which is common here, is that the technical debt construct is both an independent variable, that is something needed to explain some other dynamic, and is also a dependent variable, that is one we need to understand better by itself. So in order to get to this framework of research where technical debt can play both a dependent variable and independent variable, the level of where we talk about technical debt is like a 30,000 feet. It might appear like it is a 30,000 feet level to this community. So, for example, from the dynamics of technical debt we have heard in the conference, more focus is on the strategic and governance implications. In order to do that, we need bridge research, and I see myself as my research as playing that part of connecting these two communities. So I'll talk about. I would like to talk with you about this idea of bridging these two communities, and then talk about one of the critique here in the broader management research is to think of technical debt as just a different form of the whole research that's on quality management and project management topics. So this is an example from my work to try and see if we can integrate the normative frameworks we have that are very popular in the industry, such as the project management framework or the quality management frameworks, and see where particular topics in technical debt can be mapped to either prevention costs, maintenance costs, or even other frameworks such as assurance and project management and so on. So I see a great need to talk about the full workflow of technical debt management as a project, and that way we could root what we are doing here in managing technical debt as also the processes that belong to project management. And my second theme is to not just to go talk about very complex dynamics, especially at the industry and firm level. So to give you a little flavor of what I mean as complex dynamics, if you view systems as creating technical debt and also creating options, and the topic of options has been there in software engineering for a long time, right? So if you see any new activity as creating debt as well as options, then we have if we simply frame it as a 2x2 framework, a system can exist in any of these states, and the people who are using the system, firms or industries, can also be in any of these states. Obviously, where we don't want to be is in this place of very low quality, debt constrained, and also no options at all. But if we can think about as this as a dynamic, that is a firm. Here is an example of a case study we did where a firm starts off in this low quality quadrant, but can actually, by their actions, can move around in this space, and the movement to the real high quality place where there are a lot of options and less of debt is not linear, as you can see. It can move around, and this movement or moves is what I call as dynamics. And how can we as a community from technical debt address these types of dynamics that we observe in firms? And then if we elevate it to even industry, this is from some data sets I've collected at the industry level. We can see there are factors beyond the system itself that is impacting the general trend of debt collection, accumulation or remediation. So here, HHI is a measure of market concentration. The higher the number, then we have more monopoly situation, and lower the number, we have high competition. So you can see somehow we have competition impacting the level of technical debt firms are accumulating. Similarly, the more competitive product market spaces are also seem to accumulate more technical debt. Likewise, we can talk about the association with firm level, industry level profitability in different industries, as well as the amount of R&D intensity, research intensity. So I see certainly strong correlations between industry factors and firm level factors. Before I close, a final example about the firm level issues. Here I note that technical debt is actually sticky. A lot of our work is focused on remediating technical debt, but once technical debt is there in the adoption of a system, I observe it as really sticky and a very hard problem. In terms of business value, I would like to note that for adoption purposes, lots of firms are indeed accumulating technical debt, but that has serious concerns about the lifespan and the total return of value of systems. Here I depict a real-world CRM adoption with millions of dollars involved in the adoption. And you can see the lifetime in which the firm is using drastically reduces as the technical debt increases. So I'd like to talk in our breakout rooms about such strategic implications. To seed our thought, I have a few concluding points to see it as a bridge research, dispel the myth about this old wine in a new bottle, and then address complex dynamics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Narayan. This was also very interesting from a new point of view. I think it's very cool that you showed this. So I also guess you will get a lot of people that can be interested in this topic and discussing this. I really hope so. If you can stop sharing your screen, I will share my screen to basically explain how it works right now. So the schedule now, as I mentioned, is to basically choose one of these rooms. You will find like rooms that are called TechDebt, WS, and then you can choose cloud, strategy, or there is another topic for the ones that are not interested in these two topics about the next 10 years of technical debt. Basically looking at the future, try to understand what's coming next, what we should do next. And there will be a facilitator, Caroline, Alexander, and Zada will be there to discuss with you and to try to understand what's going to be the next 10 years of tech debt. So how do we do this? Basically, if you have this interface, click on all rooms. You can also open in a new tab. Maybe it's better. And then you can search tech debt here, and then you can find something like, tech debt WS cloud, tech debt WS strategy, tech debt WS next 10 years. There are more than one about the 10 years, so you can choose one or the other. Please spread out in those rooms. so that all those rooms have sort of an even number of participants. Okay. Then after 25 minutes, we basically come back here. I will notify and we can discuss. I will ask you to show 5 to 10 points about the topic that you have presented. Okay. And then after that, we will have another program, awards, closing, and the presentation of next year TechDebt. So come back here. So now I think I will stay here. So just move to the new rooms and come back when you are done. If you want more information, I will also be here. Thank you for now. Hello, everyone. I can see people starting coming back.
Hello again. Antonio, so will you have like a quick summary, or shall I immediately start sharing screen?
Let me just wait a second because I'm still
Okay.
waiting for 2 rooms for people to come back. So
Yes.
I think we can just wait a little bit more.
Sure.
Then I will let you start.
Sure. I don't have now. Yeah, of course, you're sharing the screen. So once you give me the rights, I can share.
Oh, yes. Try to share in the meanwhile. So we are ready. So from room 3, they are coming back. There is one room that they should be coming back soon.
Yeah, I can hear Valentina, who is like asking the other room to close and come to this session. I
Yes,
think the
that's
main
great.
problem was that we didn't have the timer in the other sessions, so we didn't know how long it was still missing.
Yep. Yeah. It was like more or less 25 minutes, but you got some time for discussion at least. I hope.
Yep.
Great. Everyone is back. Great. Then let's do like this. First, I will let Davide present, then Narayan, and then we have like 2 more rooms, I think they were, and you can present in whichever room, order you want. So Davide, first you.
Okay, thank you. So we had a very interesting discussion with some of the audience, and I think we come up with some interesting point that can be used for moving to cloud or not to cloud. So the first point is that you can move to cloud without being cloud native. I mean, without re-architecting the whole system, and you might get a lot or probably most of the benefit of the cloud simply migrating your monolithic system as is into the cloud. And there are several solutions for this. So not everybody needs to re-architect the system. The point is that you can re-architect, and re-architecting the system has advantage and disadvantage. And the problem is how to apply the different architectures. And in particular, you're developing a distributed system. So you need to deal with all the technologies that has been invented in the last 50 years, and most of developers are not used. In particular, learn how to debug, how to diagnose problems. We had nice interventions say that sometimes you need to manually draw the sequence diagram on the whiteboard to understand where is the problem in my system. Well, migrates to microservice in particular can reduce some complexities, but then they can increase some other complexity, again, because of the distributed system. In particular, cloud can also help to scale. We can have new models that can help to directly develop the code in the cloud and helping, for example, to develop the code collaboratively, and why not having a kind of peer review, more aggressive peer review. And other issues are in particular that you need to learn a lot of new technologies. So there is also this kind of learning depth. You need to learn and before applying them. But the big advantage, especially in terms of technical debt, that is in this case an economical advantage, is that you don't need to buy and to maintain all the infrastructure. And in particular, if you want something very expensive that you need it for a short time, you can just rent it. So you can, for example, if you want to use some AI, some very expensive AI equipment, you can just pay one of the cloud provider to use it for a relatively short time. And for example, now it is possible to have artificial intelligence assisted development on the cloud that could learn from existing open source projects and help you to develop and to reduce technical debt based on how a code should be developed. So that was like the summary of our session. So in the end, let's say benefit and advantages. Most of the benefits if you are properly applying cloud technologies. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Davide.
Stop sharing.
Please stop sharing. Narayan, it's your turn.
Okay. We had a really good discussion. I tried to capture our discussion in 4 main points. I think everyone agreed in our group discussion that they see a great need to build the so-called bridge research to broader communities, to communicate better with practitioners, especially. And we had a nice thought about whether our communication strategies to practitioners from a scientific community is effective at the moment. We talked about why are we not doing YouTube videos to communicate our research better. And in that spirit, we also talked about viewing both the consequences of technical debt and the dynamics involved in managing it to a broader stakeholders, including managers, and also connecting it with frameworks, established frameworks like the quality management framework, where we can see technical debt has connections with both internal quality perspective, and also a external quality perspective. The next set of topics were in this issue about how to achieve alignment between folks who are primarily interested in the technical systems and then folks who are primarily interested in business objectives. Members shared their experience about how every year we get business priorities, but we are not still equipped to fully prioritize what that means for technical debt management. We talked about communication, as I said, and there was two interesting perspectives that came. We didn't have full time to talk about it, but one was about connecting it with sustainability, in the sense of both the environmental sustainability, but also from a narrower perspective of people who create technical debt don't see the full consequences of it, such as people who purchase systems, who advocate for cheaper systems, for purchases in businesses, don't live to see the consequences of maintaining it, and so on. And then there was the second one about a learning perspective, how everything we do with technical debt can be turned on from an organization learning, environmental learning perspective, and then in turn communicated with both the scientific and the practitioner community. The final thought before we ended was that there is, I think, overwhelming part of our discussion is rendering technical debt as a bad commodity, so to speak. But there are also beneficial sides of it. For example, launching something very quickly. Clara talked about video games and how in this community, this ability to accumulate and manage technical debt is actually a powerful feature to get things released in the market quickly. So we think we can embrace a sort of a more optimization perspective, that there's good, there's bad, how do you optimize? And members of the discussion group, if I have missed anything, please feel free to alert me or through the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Very good points. Very interesting. I think next is either Caroline or Alexander. Of course, everyone is free to add things on the chat. So either Caroline or Alexander, you can share your screen.
Alexander, go
Would you like to start? If Caroline is not available, I can start.
Yes, please.
Let me share my screen. Okay. Sorry. Hope you can see.
Yes. Great,
okay,
thanks.
now this was a room about the next 10 years of technical debt research. Sorry for the ultra tiny fonts, but we had several ideas, so many that we couldn't wrap up. This is the perspective of one industry and 7 academic guys. So this is only one perspective of what is needed or what is about to be done. On the left, you can see the questions, the answers to the questions related on what we as individuals plan on working in the next 10 years and what we as a community should be working on the next 10 years? What do we hope we work on? So the interesting finding here is that many of us still believe that many of the fundamental questions related to technical debt are still open, like the impact of technical debt. For example, the interest. We discussed that several tools offer principal evaluation, and more or less this is accepted. On the other hand, the tool support for interest estimation is pretty low, as this is far from trivial. On the other hand, it's probably much more important than principle to know how much problem you will have in the future during the maintenance. Even research on cause-effect correlations, the use of tools that can work as quality gates, tools that can prioritize issues. There is an overlap between what we will be working on and what we hope, obviously. Adoption of more financial perspective, more studies with industrial relevance, unification of technical debt detection rules, and more cases from other domains. We have seen this in several presentations in this TechDebt conference as well. And once again, impacts and the consequences. Now, on the right, we have the questions which are more related to the future, what we believe will be the next hot topics, and what problems we hope that we will solve in the next 10 years. As it was revealed by several of the papers in this year's conference, cloud microservices is a major issue. Probably in a few years, we will wake up and realize that the integration and the composition of several services brings a lot more problems on the table. And we need tools and approaches for handling that. Security debt, of course, as Jan Bosch yesterday highlighted, addressing machine learning or artificial intelligence from the perspective of the debt they hold is crucial. Greenification of solutions and consideration of different platforms. Now, what do we hope that we will solve as a community in the next 10 years? The problem of interest remains open. We need more sophisticated models. For that, we need metrics that can assess the problem itself and the contagiousness of the problems, state-of-the-art tools. We have to manage the impact on people's happiness. People should be happy in order to write good code. And the thousands of individual skills required is probably also an issue that should be taken into account. Now, one of the questions that wasn't there is what we have so far achieved in the last 10 years and whether what we have already done paved the future. We can discuss this in another event. So thank you very much. In case any of the fellow colleagues in the room have understand that I missed anything, please add it on the chat.
Thanks a lot, Alexander. This was very comprehensive, very nice. Caroline? Yes, maybe Alexander, you can stop sharing. So
Yes.
Caroline.
Yes. Okay.
Caroline, it's you.
All right. Can everyone hear me and see my slides? Okay. So in our working session, we had a smaller group, but we came up with several very interesting topics, I think, in looking forward to the next 10 years. The first big one that sort of had a couple different pieces to it was decision making. So the idea that we've sort of gotten to a good critical mass in terms of tools and understanding different types of technical debt and where it comes from. So the next thing is what do we do with that information? And what we do with it, or what practitioners need to do, is make decisions. So I think the next evolution of research in technical debt, a big chunk of it, may focus on decision making and techniques for making decisions about repaying technical debt and incurring technical debt. So one piece of that that some of us are already working on is characterizing and quantifying the impact of technical debt. So once you've identified that there's technical debt there, not all technical debt is created equal. We all know that. but differentiating between them and making decisions about what to do with different technical debt items has to do with looking at their potential impact. So that's another area we need more work. And part of this too is practitioners that we've talked to more and more increasingly are understanding technical debt. They have good awareness. They understand what it is. They recognize it in their systems, but they want help in knowing what to do with it, especially when the technical folks understand the technical debt quite well, but in order to take steps to address it, they have to talk to their non-technical bosses and other folks in the organization. We did talk about working more closely with industry. The technical debt is a very, very applied research topic in software engineering. Software engineering in general is, but even more than other topics, technical debt really requires a much closer relationship with industry. So a number of us talked about how that really needs to be a focus in the next 10 years more than we are now. We also spent a good bit of time, because I think pretty much most people in our group were educators and teach software engineering and are looking for ways to incorporate technical debt into courses on software engineering. And it's tough because it takes so much time. So more resources, whether it be games, whether it be platforms, whether it be pre-made labs, resources that educators can use to make sure that our graduates who are going to become software developers in the trenches know at least the basics of identifying and dealing with technical debt. And then again, this came up several times, is at the core, to my mind, the core of the technical debt topic is about this tension and difficulties in communicating between technical and non-technical stakeholders. But I haven't seen a lot of work that intentionally focuses on that. So I think that's a very important topic going forward. I'll give a call out to one of the students, PhD students I'm working with, who's here, Alexia Pacheco, is working on exactly this and working on visualizations to ease this communication between technical and non-technical stakeholders. So I'd love to see more of that happening going forward. So I think that's it for our group.
Much, Caroline, as well. I think we had quite a lot of interesting points for discussion and to look for the next 10 years, maybe even 20, I don't know. So thanks a lot to all the the lightning talks like Davide and Narayan. Thanks a lot for Alexander and Caroline. We will try to put these points together and to make them available somehow. We will discuss this with the other organizers later on. For now, I think we are reaching the last part of this tech debt. And there are a couple of other things that we still need to do. Besides closing, we are going to say something about awards. So be ready now. Some closing, and then we want to know a little bit about next year, right? So let's go to the next one. Awards. So drum rolls. Who won the best paper award, which was actually kindly offered by a compensation is actually kindly offered by CQSE, by the company that Florian, one of the panelists, is working with in the form of Amazon gift that will be delivered to the authors later on. Who is the best paper award? It was very difficult to understand which. I know everyone is like itching to see that, but I want to take the attention a little bit up again. It was very difficult to find, to choose. It's always difficult to choose a best paper, but in this case, the best paper was actually quite obvious. So we look at the reviews, and the reviews that what contribution was given by the paper. And it was also all the reviewers were very happy with the paper, and also the topic is actually quite interesting, and it's very in line with what the previous top points were discussed about, business of technical debt and so on. So yes, now I can show you the award of best paper award is the winner is the paper Business Driven Technical Debt Prioritization, an industrial case study. And the authors are Rodrigo Rebosas de Almeida, sorry if I'm not saying that well, but I'll try, Rafael do Nascimento Ribeiro, Christoph Traude, Uira Kulesha. And again, sorry for that, but it's great paper. Thank you very much for contributing. It's also an experience paper, so it's something that we really value at TechDebt. So we want more and more of this also next year, perhaps. Well done, guys. You will hear from us later on about how to get the compensation. Okay, and congrats from CQSE, like Florian is also saying. Okay, now we go to the next part. It's about Best Presentation Award. There is no compensation for this award. It was difficult. This was actually very difficult to give away. It was a bit of an experiment. We tried to use the polls in the chat to understand who did the best presentation, and we did some normalization among the different votes that they got, and in the end we couldn't actually choose. We had to choose 3 papers that got basically the same score. I know it's difficult to believe, but that's actually what happened. So we are going to go through all the 3 of them. So the best presentation award, the first one was actually the same paper. So congratulations, Rodrigo, because you did Rodrigo and Rafael, Christoph, and Uira. You got the best paper and also the best presentation. So I think you gave a very good contribution to TechDebt this year. Congratulations. The second one is about security debt, characteristics, product lifecycle, integrations, and items by Javier Martinez, Nuria Quintano, Alejandra Ruiz, Isaskun Santa Maria, Jose Arias, Iker Martin de Soria. Again, sorry for mispronouncing. Hopefully, I did my best to try as hard as I could. Okay, so congratulations for you as well. Very well done. And the last one is about presentation award for characterizing technical debt and anti-patterns in AI-based system, a systematic literature review by Justus Bogner, Roberto Verdecchia, which I know how to pronounce, and Ilias Gerastatopoulos. And this was also a very good presentation. It was a recorded presentation. So, but still, it was so well done video that we thought and got so good, so nice scores that we think we should have included this as well. So these were the 3 best presentation award, the best paper award. Congratulations all of them for making TechDebt much very well. I mean, very nice with all these papers and presentation that we couldn't even choose from. So thank you very much. Now I think after the awards, it's going to be the time for closing. I have this little guy or girl with the luggages trying leaving. Of course, we are not going to go back home, but maybe mentally a little bit. And again, I would like to thank again all the team that made this event really good. I think it went very smoothly. The program co-chair, Caroline and Alexander, that actually helped in basically everything we did. So I really thank them because they were a great support. The tool chairs, Valentina and Marcus, they also did much more than just being tool co-chairs. The local co-chairs, Rafael and Juan, that actually I would love to meet them, and we would have had probably a great time in Madrid if they were there. So unfortunately, we couldn't do that. But they helped a lot for the conference. Zadia, the virtualization chair, she helped with all Clouder and everything. It makes all the craziness much less crazy. So thanks a lot, Zadia. Daniel, who helps with the web, and again, also much more doing the polls and tweeting and everything. So he was really great as well. The proceeding chair, Apostolos, who again helped with the proceedings, but he was also here helping out with a lot of the session sharing and so on. Maria Teresa Baldassare, who is publicity chair and helped making everyone aware that what's going to happen. She was very motivating everyone, and she has been very nice. I also want to very much say thank you to Francesco and Sergio because they were the student volunteers. They really saved our lives. So without them, I think we would have had much worse experience these 3 days. So thank you very much, everyone. Yes, so great team. I think I wouldn't be happier with a different team. So thank you very much, everyone, for helping out. I also would like to thank everyone from the PC for doing the reviews once again. It was very, very nice of you, of course. And also thanks for all the authors of the accepted papers. Of course, thanks a lot also for the non-accepted papers that we don't want to share, of course. But I think thank you for for contributing to technical debt and making TechDebt 2021 and make it great with your contribution, the actual contribution. Yes, if you want further contacts with us, I'm the general chair, so you can contact me. Alexander and Caroline were also the program co-chair, so they also probably they are aware about everything like me. We work very closely together. Yes, and then now it's a time where I talked a lot, so I would like to have some feedback also from the participants, if you would allow me. And what I would like you to do is to go to Mentimeter. I guess everyone know Mentimeter. Sorry, this is the only one thing that I didn't put into Clouder because it was much simpler to do this. So if you can go to Mentimeter and just share with us what did you like about TechDebt 2021, and you will see things showing up here. So be nice, not too much. Go to www.menti.com and use this code 5842. Maybe I can actually put it in the chat. So just go to www.menti.com and use this code that I put in the chat, and please share with us. Thank you, the social events. I'm glad to hear that was appreciated. Okay, cool. Thanks. I guess we weren't really sure it would work. It was a bit of a crazy idea in the beginning, but I think it seemed to have worked well. Socializing. I'm happy to hear that we managed to do some socializing despite being all in the cloud in this Clouder. Okay, who wrote that like Clouder? I'm really curious about who wrote that. But in the end, it wasn't that bad. We managed to do. It was a bit complex, maybe on our side, but probably it worked quite smoothly for the attendees. So I'm happy to hear that. Balance between research and industry communities. That's good to know. We want to have this connection. Good job to keeping attention. We did our best. I think I have to thank all the authors and everyone who presented. Clouder, yes, that's what I just said. The community, great. Yes, it's a great community. I think more and more, I see new faces as well. So it's great to have more people to contribute and to be part of the community. The keynotes, yes, and the papers, I completely agree. It was great. That's what they made this event the best. Keynotes, great. The interaction, so very good that we managed to have this interaction. I'm very happy to see that. New research is a part of the community. Yes, great community. Thank you for saying the general share. I will offer you a coffee later. Thank you. Meeting colleagues and friends new and old. Yes, so after all, I think it went quite well. Now, this was the nice part. What I would like actually to ask you is, okay, now that we know what we liked, what do you actually wish for the next TechDebt editions? And this is going to be a little bit more delicate, but please be honest, and we can use this for improving the next edition. I think Neil is here for the next edition, so he could actually get quite nice input from you, from the community. Physical conference, yes, of course. I totally agree. I would love to be in Madrid with all of you. Discussion sessions, social sessions. Yes, if you can also say what you like to improve, that would be nice. Use Zoom if it's online or hybrid. Can you still hear me? My headphone just died. Can you hear me? Yes, okay, good. Travel and meet, yes. Use Zoom if it's online and hybrid. More closed group rooms, facilitate interaction and discussion. Yes, I agree. Group rooms, they could have been nicer, but we were a little bit constrained. In person, yes. Yeah, I also missed the personal touch. Continue to include new authors to grow. Maybe a doctoral symposium. That's an interesting idea. Why not? I think Neil, you get some idea here for maybe for next year. More workshops on specific topics. Yes, we can have. You mean, I guess, like lightning talks and other things. Interaction. Yes, beer. I would have loved to share beer, but digitally is a bit difficult. Okay, record the presentation keynotes. I just learned that all the event should have been recorded. So it will be possible. I will investigate and will put something on the website to share how to reach the recorded presentation. I will also share the slides from those ones who would like to. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Now I think I'm just. I will leave you with Neil, who would like to close and say something about next year. Neil, you can share your screen. You're muted now, I think.
Before I get started on next year, I'd like to thank you on behalf of everyone else. One of the disadvantages with remote is that we can't have lots of applause. So thanks very much for organizing such a great conference. Let me share it. Yeah, so next year we're supposedly in Pittsburgh, and things are looking okay for that to be true. I've got the black and yellow theme here for Pittsburgh. The conference is undecided as far as format. We're sure hoping that we can have a lot of people attend in person, but there's obviously some nice parts of having a remote option as well for people who can't afford to travel or who aren't able to travel or whatever. So we'll be following the directions from the ICSE conference, our sort of our parent conference, and the Technical Debt Steering Committee, of course. So please follow us on Twitter and via the website, the researcher website, for updates. Obviously, our concern is your well-being first and foremost, but hopefully we'll be in person. The organizing committee, we've got a great team put together. So we have Valentina and Tushar will be our PC chairs, and Shinsha from Huawei and Julian Delange from Code Inspector Static Analysis Tool will be the tool chairs. And Zadia will be proceedings chair. Francesco has graciously agreed to manage the publicity and Twitter account, and Zane will manage the website. Well, we're really looking forward to all your contributions. Now, one of the things I've really missed from not traveling is being able to taste all the wonderful food. I think someone posted a photo of churros in Madrid with the chocolate dipping sauce. I had that when I was back in Madrid a few years ago. That was really missing that. So Pittsburgh also has great food. There's a lot of great immigrants came from Poland, Germany, Italy, and then more recently from other parts of the world. So fantastic melting pot of wonderful foods and flavors. Here's just a few of the samples that you can experience. Whoever said beer, an excellent assortment of local breweries and distilleries and good wines as well. So hopefully this will all be something that we can experience together. So lots of things to do in Pittsburgh if you do come. I think this time of year, one of the best things I could recommend, I lived there for a few years, is to go to a Pirates baseball game, one of the best baseball parks in America, real American cultural experience. And of course, Pittsburgh is the home to the Software Engineering Institute, which is, I think, one of the if not the founding organization for this stream. And CMU, Duolingo, Uber's research, you can see Uber cars driving around on the streets. And it's pretty close to the major airport hubs if you need to get here from around the world. The last thing I'll say is that we're looking to, as someone mentioned in the Mentimeter, we're looking to broaden our community. So please nominate yourself or other people for the PC. I've got a little QR code there if you want to go to that Google form, enter someone's name that would be appropriate for the program committee, either the tool track or the research track. As people that I may not know, or Valentina or Tushar may not know all of the people who would be excellent members of the program committee. And of course, we really hope to see you there, and we hope to see lots of submissions from you as far as the research and tools papers that we have. And we'll have more announcements to come, so we'll have the announcements and things like that on our Twitter site. So that's all for me. I'll turn it over to Antonio again.
Thank you, Neil. Hopefully we will meet next year. Also, I definitely hope I will manage to travel there, especially for contributing and also for the delicious food that you just showed. And to meet with all the communities, of course. Okay, there is not that much more to say. So thank you, everyone, again, for making this possible. And see you next year. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.